Hey, what's up guys? My name is and I'll be taking over the teaching duties from Christian here today. I'll be showing the guillotine. It's not a normal guillotine, I'm not quite sure what it's called. I originally saw it from an instructional video on the internet from Matt Arroyo, who learned it from Marcelo Garcia. And if you watch Marcelo, he does this all the time. The video then mysteriously kind of disappeared from the internet, but I actually recently saw it resurface on Reddit, so you can go search. I think it was called Marcelo Guillotine there, or Magic Guillotine, or something like that. So you can go search YouTube and look at that. It's a slightly different variation that I do, but it's more or less the same concept. So all credit goes to Marcelo and Matt Arroyo for this guillotine, but I've kind of developed a slightly different version of it that I use, but in essence it's the exact same thing. I'll just kind of start with showing exactly what it looks like, and it's more or less a variation of the 5-finger guillotine. So, which basically means that you want to put his chin in a cup in your hand here, rather than placing his throat on your underarm here, or forearm. So you grab his chin, grab your own arm, sit down to the side, and then you choke him here. So that's, just to kind of show you guys right off the bat what it looks like. But really, the only magical thing about this thing is, the new thing about this is how you finish it, which is when you kind of throw your arm over here and do the finish. But what makes this work is being able to hold his head for a long time without him escaping. So that's what I'm going to start off with. So I don't really have any set setup for this. You basically just got to be aware of going for the guillotine all the time. A basic setup that you can just kind of start with is just do a snap down into your armpit, and then you grab his throat. Now the important thing here is this is not a guillotine where you kind of envelop his entire neck in it, so you don't kind of put your armpit way up on the back of his neck here, and then you just kind of dig your arm as far as you can. You make a cup with your hand here, and you kind of place his chin in this little cup here, and then you want to place kind of the hard bit of your thumb bone here. You want to place that in the soft part of his throat. So it's right up here. So think of it like where the Adam's apple meets the soft part here. That's exactly where you want to be with this. So you kind of grab it, and not that I've ever played American football, but I imagine this is basically how you hold an American football. So you don't want to get your armpit all the way over his neck here. You kind of want to keep it right on this spot, right where I don't know what this is called in English, where the hair kind of starts turning in circles, and then you really want to tuck in your elbow here. So you basically want to tuck your elbow in on his ear here, and you want to crush his other ear to your ribs. So this is the basic position you want to keep. Pushing the elbow in, which is really important. If you have this grip and flare it out here, it's going to pull himself out straight away. And this is the important part about this, is just being able to hold him in this position at least for like 5 seconds while you kind of work your way in and get the space to get the grip. So you hold it here, get your grip, push the elbow in, and then a really important part here is if you just kind of lean back like this, he's just going to pop out straight away. You really need to kind of lean over him a little bit, and just kind of use your shoulder to kind of keep him in there. It's almost going to feel like he's going to pop out any minute, but as long as you kind of keep this pressure and keep yourself over him all the time, then he's not really going to get out. So it's really important here that you not do like a normal guillotine and like start falling to your back. He's just going to pop out straight away. So you want to keep sitting the entire time, keep hunched over him, and kind of use your shoulder and chest to kind of put pressure on the back of his neck to keep him down. So this is the basic position, and if when I teach class on this, I usually use at least 30–40% of the time just to kind of drill this position. So I tell people, okay, you snap it down, take your grip, and you just hold it here. And he starts to kind of work a little bit. He starts to try to get out. I use my hands to kind of hold back. When he starts getting too close, I can hand fight a little bit, keep him here all the time. If he starts getting out, I can push his head back in, and just kind of keep this position all the time without this arm ever coming in and choking. You're never choking him at any point here. You just kind of hold him in the position. You move out a little bit, you push out, move in, and you keep this tight all the time. And like I said, super important here is you want to really press this elbow in at all times. So you're kind of creating a little bit of torque here to keep him in. Like I said, I used to do like 30–40 minutes of technique, and I would use at least 15–20 minutes just on doing this. Switch partners every now and then, and just kind of feel comfortable holding this position. And you kind of want to, of course, tell the other guy not to go too hard, but he also has to kind of push him a little bit, because what happens a lot is people hold this and then they get pressure into it and they just fall down to their back. And this is not good. You don't want to be here. You want to be up here all the time, so if it starts pushing into you, you kind of move back a little bit and keep your chest and shoulder above him at all times. So that's number one. Once you kind of establish that, then you can start doing the choke. But before I actually go in and start doing the actual choke, then I tell people, okay, now you can hold it. Now what you want to do is you just want to kind of crank it a little bit. So you take the exact same position, there's nothing different here, pull it down, make a cup, grab his chin, place this into the soft part, and tuck your elbow. What you do now though is you kind of crank it, which is, it's basically just like a curl. So you just kind of pull it up here and you push your elbow at the same time. So it's kind of like a double torque. So you torque up this way and this way. So it kind of becomes a double circular motion. So one this way and one this way. And again, you don't use the other arm for anything. You still just kind of hold him, but you put a little bit of pressure on his neck, just to kind of make him feel it. And I mean, you can tap people with this, but I mean, as soon as they start fighting the arm, you know, they're pretty much out of it. But then I basically do the same thing. I tell them, maybe for a little bit shorter while, because they kind of should be a little bit better at this. Do the same thing. He starts working against me a little bit, but I hold it, but at the same time, I put a little bit of pressure on his neck at all times. And I mean, sometimes the guys tap to it, especially if they're kind of new, they don't know what to do. But this is just to kind of get a feeling for that this is the basic pressure. You really want to tuck that elbow in all the way, and you want to kind of go circular here. So it's important that you're not shooting into his Adam's apple, but you're kind of doing like a circular motion. So you're going into the soft part here of the neck. And then to finish it, it's really kind of simple. Once you got this down, I mean, if you can hold this for a long while, all you really got to do now is you hold this, your other arm comes in, grabs over the meat of the arm here. So it comes in, grabs the meat of the arm, and then you basically just want to think about, you want to do that circular motion into him, but now you just have an arm to assist you. So there's nothing different from this move with no arm to this move with an arm. The only difference here is you have more power because you have two arms doing the same thing. So number one, you can just kind of hold it and pull into it to get the tap. But what kind of makes this special, this is where the Marcelo Natalroya thing comes in. To really get a lot of pressure on this, you take the arm that's gripping him, and you kind of think, I want to get this perpendicular with his spine. So you kind of place it over his back here. So you grip it, place it over his back, and then just kind of push down. And what this does is you're basically using like a like this is like kind of a torque principle. Because you're pushing down here, you're creating a lot of power on your arm without really using any power yourself. So it's kind of like, I like to compare this to opening a door. I mean, if you're just pulling here, this is kind of like opening a door with the knob way at the hinges. But this way, you're creating a lot of force because you're using torque instead of just straight power. So you get a lot of power out of this. And this means that, I mean, I can come here and I can put a lot of power on it and hold this for a long while without really using any power myself. So I'm not burning my arms out, and I can just kind of stay there for 10, 15, 30 seconds without really using any kind of power. So what I usually do when I do this, I place my shin over his belly here. So I pull him down, place my shin over his belly. The arm comes in, grabs the meat of the arm, of the hand I mean, sit down to the side, and then I go for the tap. The really important thing here is you never want to fall down to your back. I never want to pull him down here and then fall down here and start doing it. I mean, you can get it, but it's going to be so much tighter if you fall straight to your side. So you keep the exact same posture as before. You don't change this at all. All you do is you fall down to your shoulder. Kind of like we're doing a butterfly sweep. So you don't want to fall back. You want to fall down to your side. So again, pull it down, get the grip, put the hand inside. Flip it over to make it perpendicular with his spine. Then you fall down to the side and get the tap. And of course, as with any guillotine, you really want to get the far side foot over, because I mean, if I keep it in here, go for it. He's gonna pass my. Oh, you can do that too. He'll just pass my guard. If I go like here, go down for he'll pass my guard straight away. And I mean, you can actually still get the tap here with the arm out. If you look at Natalroya's tape, you see that the guy kind of passes out and pukes when he does it. It's kind of cool. But I kind of feel like the way I'm holding it here is like grab the chin. I don't have that strong of a grip, so if he starts passing my guard, I kind of lose it. He goes a little bit deeper, so it's easier with the way he does it. But so always try to, when you fall down, get this foot over, and then you go for the tap. So that's the basic mechanic of it. Then there's a bunch of variations, of course. There's a bunch of things he can do to kind of defend it. The most basic thing that's going to happen a lot to people is they get here, and then he kind of pushes his elbow in, or maybe it's under him too, and they're like, oh, I can't really get the grip now. What you can do, kind of the same principle as like when you want to get an angle with a triangle, you can use your feet on his hip to kind of get an angle. So you put this foot on his hip, kind of push out a little bit to get that room, put it in, and then you go for it. And all that does is just gives you a little bit of an angle, and you notice like he's here, he's pushing his shoulder in there. Once you do this, you get a little bit of an angle there, and it's tricky because his head comes out a little bit, so you really gotta be confident in your grip and holding him tight. If you push off a little bit, get a little bit of an angle, get your arm in, go for it. And a lot of times this is going to be like a pummeling exercise. So you come in, get it, he pummels in straight away, so just keep going until you get it, fall down, and you get the guillotine. That's probably the most important thing about this, and then the most important variation, using that, get the angles, keep the position all the time, just keep fighting for it. Because a lot of times people are going to be fighting their arms and kind of throwing their their shoulder really hard into you, so you can't really get in and get those both arms in. But another thing you can do, if he's really fighting the arms a lot, or if you kind of snap him down and you feel like you didn't really get it, it kind of sits on his chin, it's not really there, you can always just use this to sweep, because you're really cranking your elbow in like this, you're creating a lot of pressure on him in this direction. So I mean, basically, if you just kind of fall to your side hard and you can kind of use this semi-hook you have over his belly to kind of sweep him, to kind of give extra leverage that way, you can usually get the sweep pretty easily. So if I'm here, I don't feel like I have the actual choke. If I just kind of throw myself to the side and kick out with this foot, it's usually going to end up in a sweep anyway. So you just go for the underhook quickly. And the beauty about this one is you don't need to have a straight guillotine actually. So if you go here, and he does the same thing where he goes to the underhook here, you don't need to get in, you can still do it over with, it's kind of like an arm and guillotine. I can never really get the tap from there, but if I just keep this in, just throw it over and kind of just really crank it in this direction, I usually get this straight away. And kind of a bonus point here, you can actually go for straight bravo choke off it. If you're really quick, just throw them over. The bravo's there to take it. So you throw them over, bam, shoot this in straight away, go for the bravo. And I use that a lot actually, because I mean people get very wary of this in the gym, and they know you go with guillotines all the time, so they tuck their chin, you go in, he kind of tucks it, and you're like, well, I'll just take the guillotine instead. It's kind of like the old plot in that sense, that you can set it up all the time. But good guys don't really get caught in it that much, so you just use it to sweep instead. So it's not a bad thing to defend it really. You just gotta work off that. Okay, one last variation that's kind of been surfacing in the past few months with this is that I like to really use it. Oh my goodness, I really like to use this to pass half guard, especially if he manages to get the underhook and he really starts working under me here. I mean, the guillotine is just kind of waiting for me, so I'll just put my tricep on the back of his neck and curl it under here and go for the grip. I like to try to get the exact same grip as I did before with the guillotine, but it's kind of inevitable for me, at least when I do this, that it kind of gets in a little bit deeper. And that's fine, because I don't really intend to do the actual choke from here. I just kind of use this as a really good control position. And he's going to be thinking about the guillotine, and he can actually go for it if he wants to. I mean, there's nothing wrong with going in here and going for the exact same thing. It's just kind of hard, and I feel like I'm kind of giving away the sweep if I go for it. Because I mean, if I go for this, and he actually manages to sweep up on me, or the other way, just go into me, he's going to pass my guard pretty fast here. So I don't really like going for the guillotine from there. So I just kind of use it as a holding position. So as soon as I feel like he's starting to work under me, go for the guillotine, and it doesn't really matter if he's got the underhook here, because from this position I can almost put myself on my back, but I just feel like I have so much power when I got this guillotine. Because what you want to do is you really want to put all your weight onto your ribs, so you're kind of lifting yourself and put all the weight straight down here, so it's kind of crushing his head. So from here you have a lot of power down in, so his shoulder almost hit to the ground, so I can lean back and incredibly exaggerated. This looks weird and it feels kind of counterintuitive when you do it. You you lean back really far to start pummeling from an underhook. And once you have both the underhook and the guillotine, it's kind of trivial to pass the guard for me at least. I mean, I just kind of use the same classic one, like foot on the thigh, keep it up, come over to here, and start working it. Switch another side real quick. He comes in, just tricep on the back of his neck, come under and get the exact same grip as we did before. There's nothing different here. Sit down, and you can really over-exaggerate this by coming back and getting the underhook. If he starts coming into you, that's when you're really going to start working fast. As long as you get that underhook and you have this grip on his neck, you're really going to be able to crank him down with a lot of power. So I feel like I can almost land on my back, but as long as I have that underhook and that neck, and then just explode up again with it, he's always going to end up on bottom anyway. So I feel pretty, it looks weird and people feel bad doing this when I teach it usually, but if you get comfortable with it, it's actually really good. And one little detail I kind of want to show here is that you really want to trap this arm with your hips. What happens a lot is they start fighting your guillotine with this, and the elbow often sticks out a little bit, which gives it a little bit of power. So what you want to do is you want to use this leg and kind of trap it and get it under you. So you want this elbow in between you. If it's sticking out here, I feel like he has a lot of power, and even if he's not fighting it, if he's just sticking out there, I don't like it. So I try to get my hip up and scoop it under me, and from there I'll start working with the sweep. That's actually fairly important. It's like a small detail I started working on a few months ago, but it actually makes a huge difference. In the past, if he doesn't have that foot kind of pushing, he doesn't have that hand pushing on your hip or defending your choke, you just kind of completely neutralize it between your body and his. And I hope it doesn't take too much flexibility. I have a tendency of showing things that work for me that kind of require a lot of flexibility, but I think it's fairly basic. You don't need the underhook either. I mean, if he's just kind of grabbing it or just staying out there with it, you get your knee high up, put your knee behind this bicep or tricep, and just kind of scoop it in, get it in between you. You sit down on your hip, you put all your weight down on his foot here, and you can start going with the underhook. Okay, I think that's about it. I have from the guillotine. Hopefully you can use it for something, and it's been semi-Marcelo approved, so it's good. It's not just some random Icelandic protocol telling you what to do. Yeah. Or is it? But yeah, check out Matt Roy's video. It's actually really good. That's where I got it from. He has he puts his hand a little bit deeper in. He jokes it from here. So if you're more comfortable with that rather than doing the 5-finger grip, that's fine. This works better for me because I used to do the 5-finger a lot, so the 10-finger. But I mean, if you're more comfortable with a more traditional guillotine, definitely check out his video and sign up for mginaction.com. He's got a lot of those videos too.
Ja.